In this video, I wanted to show you how to reference other sheets when you're using formulas in Google Sheets. So right now I'm in a workbook, and this workbook has multiple sheets in it. You can see those down at the bottom on their individual tabs. I'm in sheet 1 right now, and I want to use some information that's in another sheet. So to reference cells in another sheet, you start typing your formula like usual. So I'm going to type equals. Now, to get the new cell reference, you can either type it in or you can navigate to the particular sheet you want to use and just click on that cell. I'm going to show you that way first. So I want something from the sheet called Info. I want this one right here. So when I click on that cell, you'll see that it populates into my formula in a way that's slightly different from a normal cell reference. It does list the cell that I'm referencing, which is cell B3, but it also needs to include whatever sheet it's pulling that information from. So you can see that it has the sheet name followed by an exclamation point and then the cell reference. So right now it's referencing the sheet info and it's referencing cell B3 on that sheet. So now I can complete my formula however I want. So let's say I wanted to multiply that by 3. Say enter, and it will enter it in the sheet that I added the formula to. So here you can see that I have 15 because what was in B3 was a 5. Just to show you that it works, I'm going to change this to a 7. Now let's go back, and you can see it's 21 now because what was in info B3 was a 7. Again, you do not have to click on the individual sheets. You can type this in by hand. So I'm going to type equals, and this time I'm going to reference sheet 3. Type sheet 3, then an exclamation point, and whatever cell that I want to reference. And then you can continue your formula from there. Wait until it changes colors to make sure that you've entered it correctly. That exclamation point is sometimes easy to forget. That's the only thing that's different from referencing a cell in the same sheet in a given workbook. So I'm going to show you an application. You saw that on info I had some people's names and their rankings. And let's say on this first sheet I wanted to look up the rankings of individual people. I'm going to have a place to type in my person, and then I'm going to look up their rank. So to do that, I'm going to use one of my favorite functions, VLOOKUP. And I am going to look up this cell. All I have to do is click on it. Since I'm in the sheet that it's that cell referencing is, I do not need to list the name of the sheet. But the range I'm going to use is from another sheet, so I'm going to go over there. I'm going to select my range. Now it's important to note that you only have to write the name of that sheet reference once. If you use a range, you do not have to add it in again after the colon. It just needs to be there at the beginning of that particular entry. I'm going to finish up my formula. I need to have an index. I'm going to look up column 2, and it is not sorted. And then say enter, and I'm good to go. Now right now it says NA because there's no person listed. But now I'm going to type in a person. I'm going to say, hey, look up Linda. What was Linda's rank? And it references whatever it was in that other sheet. Something that's pretty cool is that you can also reference information in another spreadsheet entirely. So I have another sheet opened. It's called New Sheet, and that is has some information in it. This one's a little bit different. You have to use a particular function to do it. The function that you use to reference other spreadsheet files is import range. I'm going to start typing import, and there's import range. The first thing you need is the spreadsheet key. Now pay attention to the example. You have to put it inside quotes. So I'm going to do quote, and the spreadsheet key is just the URL for that sheet. So I'm going to copy the URL and then close my quotes, and then whatever cells I want to reference. So I'm going to reference something on sheet 1, and I think I had something in A3. Put it in quotes. And you'll notice that I use that exclamation point just like I did when I referenced another sheet in the same workbook. I'm going to say enter, and it says, uh-oh, these sheets need to be connected. So this is something you'll need to do initially, but you won't have to do ever again. So you can click on allow access, and there you go. It looked up whatever was in that cell. I'm going to show you just so it proves that it worked. So there was A3, and it was orange. I'm going to change it to something else. Let's look over in our workbook, and it referenced that again. You did not have to give it permission again because you already gave it permission once. So that is how to refer to cells on other sheets in the same workbook, as well as sheets in entirely other Google Sheet files.